Welcome to WestBranch.Football.com and the Bearcast Weekly Game Preview. I'm Matt Chinander, and I'm joined by voice of the Bears, Jason Miller. Sorry we missed you last week. It was a bit of a busy week for us, but here we are for Week 4, and we're already at Week 4, Jason, and the Bears go back on the road to take on Cascade. But before we talk about that game, let's look back at the Bears' Week 3 victory over Columbus Catholic. To put it simply, Jason, this was a great win in a lot of different ways.
A bounce back win. We talked the coaches. Obviously we didn't have the opportunity to speak with them last week, but speaking with them personally, and I know you have as well. Last week they talked about wanting to get over that second quarter hump, and the offense needed to start biting back a little bit. Well, it bit early and it bit often, and 49-7 was the final. And the defense, 7 on the scoreboard, but the defense gave up 0 points and 37 yards.
Yeah, it was just that lone fumble recovery for a touchdown. Those only 7 points on the board for Columbus Catholic. But the defense, kind of keep on keeping on. Other than just a couple snowball things that happened in Week 1, and again, kind of those second quarter things that happened in Week 2, this defense has really done a phenomenal job, and they did that again Friday night, as you said, 37 yards allowed, which is, we've kind of gotten used to that. We've been blessed by that over the last, 10, 15 years, at least as far as I can remember.
Yeah, and a lot of teams will put pressure and pressure and pressure. It's timed and planned aggression. That's the Tyler Bailey defense. You put them in positions, the kids make the plays, but the aggression is controlled and very much calculated. And if you know Tyler Bailey, he's a very calculated and very analytical guy.
And on the offensive side, the offense got going. I mean, we saw shades of it here in Week 1 and Week 2, but Week 3, Coach Tiley and the rest of the staff and the players, really put things together for a full 4 quarters. Nearly 200 yards rushing and 240 yards passing. Pretty great performance by the offense.
438 yards, if I recall off the top of my head. 438 yards of offense. And you watch it back, and obviously we were there live too. I think we were both there because I was about 3 feet from you. We were physically there. And it wasn't as though, Coach Tiley, offensive coordinator for the Bears, went to the 77th play of the playbook. He just kept it simple. The first drive established the run, 8 plays, 62 yards, touchdown. Second drive started to mix in the passing, the short yardage passing, then a slant route, play action, downfield route, touchdown. And then just did little bit of here, a little bit of there, and put the Wonka chocolate factory to work where they just take things from this corner and that corner. It all tastes good. And when you put up 49 points, a lot of things are working, not just offensive yards, but those don't happen without the 5 guys up front. And West Branch used a combination of 6 or 7 guys up front, did a fantastic job.
Yeah, I mean, with Coach Rummels, Coach Tiley, Coach Hirschman, and now back to Coach Tiley, a successful West Branch offense has always been up front and with establishing that running game. And I really would like to see that here as we move into Week 4. But real quick, before we get into Week 4, I did want to just congratulate Coach Nestor on his first win as a head coach. I know he was pretty emotional about it after the game. Talking with Randy Sexton on the Bearcast after the game too. Really happy on a personal note, just really happy for Coach Nestor and him getting that first win.
Yes, and I can confirm that later that evening, after the dust had settled and the lights were off, Coach Nestor did get a little piece of the field to keep it for a personal and permanent keepsake to take from his first victory, because you can only have a first victory one time.
Well, transitioning to Week 4 here, we begin district play. Cascade Cougars 2-1 this season with wins over Maquoketa Valley and Monticello, the lone loss being to Hudson in Week 2. And as you'll get into a bit more here, Jason, a good amount of the offense and the defense kind of goes through 4 guys that stood out to me. Quarterback Mick Hoffman, wide receivers Bodie Otting and Nathan Shockamil, and running back Jackson Green.
Yeah, those names, a couple of those names should sound familiar. The Ottings and the Hoffmans have been around for a while. In fact, I don't know this to be true, but Mick Hoffman, there was a Harris Hoffman who graduated, who played, I believe, in 18, was a senior. West Branch won 26-6 at the Little Rose Bowl. And Harris Hoffman, who was also like a 24 point a game scorer in basketball, but he had something like 1,500 yards passing and another 400 yards rushing that year. Fantastic athlete. Something tells me this might be little brother or at least cousin, because there's a resemblance. And then the Otting name, Brady and Logan and all these guys have been around for a while. They always put a bunch of Brody, I should say, for a while, and then the Mannernocks and Shakamal. Nathan Shakamal last year statistically was the guy. I think he was their only maybe first team all district player. If I'm wrong, I apologize, but I'm thinking that's right. The kid is as Clark Kellogg would call him, a stat sheet stuffer. He was the one target, and when it's thrown his way, he makes plays. I think he's already got uh, about 140 yards receiving. This year, Otting has 144 on 5 catches, so he's a big playmaker. And Shakamal, 15 catches, 135. So if Hoffman is thrown for 465, but more than likely he's going to look for one of those two guys.
Just on their offense, they're fairly balanced, 56% of the time running to 44 pass. And, on the defensive end, those 4 guys, well, 3 guys, Otting, Shakamal, and Green, are also kind of their defensive leaders too. Jackson Green, who's just a sophomore, has 2 interceptions already, as well as being their leading rusher on the offensive side of things.
And that's funny that you say that the percentage of plays are that way, because they run the ball. They have 86 running plays, only 65 passing. But when you do the math, it's somewhere about, you want to say 8 yards, 7 to 8 yards per passing play per attempt. It's 8 yards an attempt, but 12 yards per completion. That is something. Now, only getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust on the ground, but they've played some teams like specifically Monticello is traditionally a very physical team up front. But what they're going to want to do is when they throw it, they're going to make the most of it. 12 yards of completion. You do the math on that. That's a first down and then some. So nobody can hide from that.
And on the flip side for West Branch, we're not entirely sure on the status of Brendan Dale yet, so it'll kind of be a decision there on Friday whether he or Connor Rios are under center. But regardless, like I mentioned earlier, we saw some glimpses of it in the first 2 weeks, and it really exploded last week. From the offensive perspective, what can the Bears be doing this week to ensure this team keeps moving in the right direction? Because this schedule isn't getting any easier.
It's not. The good news is now everybody's 0-0. That's also bad news, because that's a confidence booster for teams. West Branch got the confidence from beating Columbus Catholic, of course, but Cascade has the same record. Has a 2-1 record. But they're also, everybody is 0-0 right now. But West Branch really needs to do is, well, hydrate, keep those cramps away. Let's keep those cramps away, because it's been a hot one all week, and it's going to be another, 60, 70, almost 80-degree at kickoff night in September. But more so than that is just be clean. Try to be as clean and quick as possible. What we mean by that is, for whoever plays the quarterback position, make your reads clean. You'll see it, your pre-snap reads, but then hopefully those big guys up front continue to do what they do and open holes for Gates and Gates, the law firm of Cooper and Keaton.
It's all happening Friday night up at Cascade. The district portion of the schedule begins, and does so with yet another tough game for the Bears. You can listen to the game live on the Bearcast. Just visit the football website for more information. There will also be a live video stream from Cascade. Keep an eye on our social media accounts for that information ahead of kickoff. Until we talk to you again next week, go Bears.
Go Bears!